الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على نبينا Muhammad وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Alhamdulillah, brothers and sisters, we're gathered here today at the Masjid with the Masjid Shura to show you the progress of what we've achieved so far. Here we start off, that's where the sisters will enter, and this is the sisters section, and then they will proceed forth down in this area here. Alhamdulillah.
Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man tabi'a hudah. We decided, Ikhwan, that we were going to do this video in 3 parts because of the fact that there has been a lot of requests for a general update on the progress with the work here at the Masjid and the extension. So we're going to do this in 3 parts. We'll start here in the area that is allocated to the sisters. This whole walkway is going to be the sisters' entrance. From this wall that you can see here, this area will be a gated area, and we're going to place roofing over the area so that this will be a secluded area for the sisters.
Totally private for their sisters.
And you know, sisters can use it, the sisters can access it. Of course, it's outside of the masjid, so it will be of great benefit to have this extra area for them and for the children and what have you. So if we walk up there, and of course most of you will probably have been familiar and seen it previously. What we have here at the back is just a recap. This is going to be the wudu facility, the wudu area and toilets for the sisters. So that is, of course, as far away from the rest of the masjid as possible, which is, of course, better for them.
And there'll be a disabled facility also there as well.
No.
Wudu facilities and the toilets at the back.
No. From here then, we move into the main entrance, or the entrance rather, from the back of the sisters' entrance. So anybody who uses the toilet can access the masjid from here. Any sisters coming from that side can access the masjid from the main double doors that you can see next to that pile of bricks there. So once you get into the masjid, Bismillah,
MashaAllah.
as you can see, the area, for the most part, a lot of the scaffolding has now come down. The area has been cleared somewhat. So you can see the extent of the size of the masjid. This area, of course, this area will be the sisters' area. And so there's going to be some partition between the sisters' area and the brothers' area. And there's a large area. To be honest with you, the sisters' area is the size, just the sisters' area alone is the size of many masajid. Now, so as we said, the area, mashallah, is a huge area and bigger than many masajid. So if you look, for example, if you take a pan of the whole area, you can see, if you turn and you look back, you can see the extent of the size of just the sisters' area, Alhamdulillah.
And that
which is
just there alone is for our sisters alone. So there'll be a lot of area for our sisters, Alhamdulillah.
And once we get to speaking about the annex, the building that we have been given permission for now, on the side of the masjid, all along this side here, then there is going to be access at the back for a creche facility for the sisters. So from here, this will be the area, and then the annexed building on the outside will house the creche facility that they will be able to access from here. And creche facility, the kitchen, and then the rest will be for the wudu area for the brothers. So if we move over to this area, this is, of course, moving into the brothers area.
And this is the area where it used to be the old masjid. The old masjid used to come to here, so you can actually see the extent of the extension when we turn around.
And you remember that we put a few days ago a request for aid for the building of the mezzanine floor. The mezzanine floor we had planned, we'd spoken to companies, we had arranged it. The only thing that was needed was the funds, Alhamdulillah, by the fadl and the virtue of Allah Azza wa Jal, and by your generous donations. Alhamdulillah, the work, as you can see on the mezzanine floor in the main hall, has begun today. So that is a great ni'mah and a great fadl. May Allah Azza wa Jal reward all of you who have donated. And so from this area, if we look back, we can see then both extents of the front and the back of the masjid. Bismillah. So as far as the second part then, we look at that which is related to the upper floor, many of the brothers and sisters have requested pictures and an update about the upper floor. Some of you may have seen as some of the brothers have come to visit, but as far as the upper floor is concerned, then as we have mentioned previously, this is going to be where the Ma'had al-Ilmi is going to be housed, but it is likewise going to double up as a library facility, as extra space for storage, and for if there's any spillage, for example in Jumu'ah or what have you, then of course these classrooms will be used and will be allocated for Salah if needed. The area that you see in front of you then is the sisters' access. These stairs that we've just walked up, these have just been fitted. They're the access, or the stairs that access the upper floor of the masjid for the sisters. And so the upper floor of the masjid for the sisters comes here behind the classrooms. So we've got the back, or we're seeing here the entrance for the back of the classrooms for the sisters. So the classrooms for the Ma'had will be accessible by brothers and sisters. Of course, there'll be segregation within the classrooms. And so there will be a section the sisters will access, and then they'll sit in their areas. The mudarris will be at the front of the fasl of the class. As far as Abu here, I think that we didn't mention, as you can see, these hallways, they're quite large. The reason for the wider hallways, because along the wall of the classrooms we're going to have bookshelves, and so there'll be a library facility here accessible for anyone who utilizes the Ma'had. Over here we have the office area. This is of course going to be the office area, photocopying facilities and what have you for the Ma'had, and of course generally for the masjid. So this is going to be the small office,
Admin area.
and then an admin area. Then we have here, though we don't have electric here, so I hope you can see. But we have here a relatively large storage area. Yeah, any for books or whatever else needs to be stored, paperwork and what have you. Now, so if we continue then past the classrooms, or past the area that's allocated for the classrooms.
Male's entrance.
So this will be the male side, and they'll access that from the second set of stairs that will be inside at the beginning of the extension. So they'll access from that end, sisters access from this end.
The door for them to enter.
So there, and they enter from the doors here. So this whole area will be corridors. You can also see we have storage here, and this runs along the whole of the roof of the extension. So if there's whatever mats or chairs or whatever can be stored here, we have that on both sides.
This whole area is a second classroom.
This is the larger classroom.
No, and so the classroom area continues up until we reach this area, which is going to be allocated for the masjid library. And so this whole area will be allocated to the masjid library. So this will be a sitting area. If somebody wants to come and read, somebody wants to sit and read, doesn't want to sit downstairs in the masjid, then you can come here, read, research, or whatever the case may be. And that frees the masjid area up for salah. And so that there doesn't have to be the extensive bookshelves within the masjid. That space is allocated to this area here, though it will still be considered a part of the masjid. And you can still pray in here. It's still going to be a part of the masjid and an extension to the masjid. From here, we then have the walkway that leads you to the upper level, which will meet with the mezzanine floor that's being built right now. So that whole area will be a mezzanine floor that will have a glass balcony that you'll be able to look over. You'll be able to see the imam from this area. And even though it is a mezzanine floor, once it's built, you won't realize and you won't recognize that it is actually the floor that you're seeing. The structure that you're seeing, once it's finished, it looks fantastic. And it will just look like an extension of the normally the built second floor.
This whole area will be in Musalla.
So this whole area here will be a musalla area. So it's almost as we've doubled the area, the capacity of the ground floor. We have a second floor here. Bismillah. Okay, so the final part then, we will look at the front of the masjid and then show you some of the additional work that we have planned. In the front of the masjid, because we don't really speak about this area much, but it should be known there's a lot of work that is taking place on the stonework on the front of the masjid. This is old stonework, as many of you can clearly see. And what we were having was that we had problems with some of the stonework because it was decaying. And so we even had instances of brothers being at the front here and stone falling and just missing some of the brothers because of the manner in which the brickwork and the stonework was decaying. So we had a number of quotes from specialists, because this work is specialist work. We had a number of quotes from specialist companies. One company quoted us 100,000 just to renovate the arch, just this arch, just the archway, 100,000 pounds, wallahi. And that is, forget about the rest of the whole of the building, just the archway. And so the work, it's meticulous work and it's specialist work. And so as you can see, we have some renovators in now. Alhamdulillah, our brothers have sourced some excellent renovators that are doing a fantastic job. If you can see, each brick has to be reinforced and then repointed. So all of the old cement is removed. It is reinforced by way of some system that they have.
Removed and replaced.
Removed, replaced. And so once it's completely finished, you'll see a brand new looking front, even though it will still retain the old feel that it originally had. So if we move down to the side of the building, one of the things that we want to look at is even the brickwork along the side. That similarly has been the same sort of work. The pointing has been done. That is, the cement is removed, even though the bricks, of course, haven't been changed. Because that would be,
bricks have been changed.
Some of them have been.
The ones that are broken, they've been changed.
No, but the bulk of the work here is repointing. That is, the cement and the grout between the bricks have been removed and replaced and reinforced.
Here you can really see the scale of the extension.
So from here you can see where the upper floor is, the upper floor that we were just in, the extent of the sisters area, and generally the area around the side of the masjid. One of the good piece of news that we received and we put out and informed you of was that when we initially put in the planning for the extension, we wanted the extension to begin from this wall here, which is the wall that is connected to the main building, and from there to continue all the way to the back wall. We were refused that initial application, and so they wouldn't allow except a few feet further in. We went back and we fought the case, we reapplied, and we sought permission for usage of a lot of this area that goes along the side of the masjid, and Alhamdulillah, we won and received approval for building along the side of the masjid here. We spoke, I believe, and we put out an update concerning that. Well, what we now have is our team has now built the foundation for this extra additional area. And so as you can see here, this is the grounding for the foundation. This is the actual foundation that has now been dug, the trenched and built. And so the only thing that this is now waiting for is for the brick wall to be built all the way up to the wall of the main wall of the masjid. So the whole of this area, this is where we're going to have the kitchen, the creche facility, the toilet for the brothers, the wudu area. So that way we free up more space from inside the masjid, which would have been used or had to have been used for wudu and what have you.
And on top of that, the great news that we're going to have, Alhamdulillah, we're going to have a facility for the people of the Sunnah for janazah.
So this area that you see here, this is going to be the janazah area. If you see where the wall ends for the annex, this annexed area, that area at the back, from here, from the wall of the masjid across to the wall here, where you have this cabin of course is going to be removed, this whole area is going to be the Janaza facility. And so the work, Ikhwan, is work in progress. And Hakikatan, if you can see, even at the back of the building here, the whole of the back of the building, that renovation brickwork that we were speaking of, that has likewise taken place here. And you can see the whole of the back of it. If you look at some of the old pictures of the building, you'll see this brickwork was all old brickwork, decaying brickwork. The whole of the back of the masjid and the front building has been renovated. There's a new roof now as well as been put on the old building. Then eventually the only thing that we need to do is join and connect the two entities. This roof is going to go all the way across to meet the main building, and then we're going to have one solid entity. It should be known, Ikhwan, that when we were initially looking for a construction team, we were quoted 900, over 900, just under £1 million for the work, and that was the cheapest, that was the best quote that we had got, just for the extension, not for any of the renovation work or any of that.
Not for the fact that we demolished that and had to rebuild that.
No. So anybody who's familiar with construction will know that this is easily a 1.5 to 2 million pound project. And it is a huge project. So Alhamdulillah, Allah Azza wa Jalla has blessed us with a good construction team who are sincerely working for the sake of the masjid. Alhamdulillah, the brother that is in charge is one of our brothers who are upon the Sunnah. And so he is working hard to find and to make sure he tries to get the best prices, the best costing, and do the work as best as possible. So it's a blessing, Alhamdulillah. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal that He hastens the completion of the project. It is a big project. It is going to cost an amount, and we can understand why we were quoted, even though we were flabbergasted when we heard £1 million, £900,000. But we can, as we've been working through the project, we can see why they gave us those quotes initially. And so from the virtue of Allah Azza wa Jal, this is where we are, Ikhwan. Hope this brings some benefit to the brothers and the sisters who have been asking. And don't forget, Ikhwan, let us strive to contribute as much as possible to the completion of the project, Ikhwan. If we don't contribute, then who will?
And just to add on to what our brothers have mentioned, Alhamdulillah, first we praise and we thank Allah Azza wa Jal. And then we likewise thank you, brothers and sisters, who have aided us to reach to this point that we have reached today. So please keep on striving, my brothers and my sisters, for indeed your reward lies with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whoever builds a house for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, a masjid for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah will build a house for him in Jannah.
And as you mentioned, Ikhwan, the funds have depleted, Ikhwan. The funds are minimal right now. So if we do not receive any aid with the project, the sad news is that the work that we have now developed and where we are is going to have to stop. And that is a reality, Ikhwan. And wallahi, we're not just saying this just to gain funds. It is a reality, Ikhwan. This work is work for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, Ikhwan. Allah Azza wa Jal bless all of you, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala complete this project with khair.